What up?
Why isn't the teleprompter going? I'm trying this teleprompter feature and it's not working. Where's the teleprompter feature? Here we go. Oh, I got to show it. Okay.
You're like our presidents. Using a teleprompter.
I know. And it just zipped by too fast. Now I'm at how you doing. Let's start that again. Here we go. We are live from a very snowy Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and North Carolina.
Sunny and beautiful North Carolina today.
I am Jeff, and he
Ryzak.
Is Ryzak. And it is coffee time. Do you have your coffee, sir?
I do. It's right here. Even grabbed my my nice Mr. cup that my wife was sure that I used today.
I go with the longer. I go with the bigger cup because it's an hour show or thereabouts, and I need more. I need more oomph. Yes, snowy Hamilton.
I'm fighting a little hay fever, so if I'm mute and you see me coughing, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get it cleared up. I didn't want to cancel. So
is that what we call it now?
Yeah,
this is my backyard this morning.
It's ridiculous.
I know the pipers of the ward are going, what's that? You call that snow? I know
more snow than I've seen in about.
I know the pipers are saying that. And then
more snow than I've seen in about 7 years, Jeff.
Last night, after I finished snuffling the snow, I went out to the hot tub, and this is me going down the stairs. It's a little icy because I didn't do a good job of doing. I didn't do a good job of.
You should send this to LeBron and let him know this is free cryotherapy.
Yeah. So I didn't do a good job of clearing out the snow before.
Yeah.
So, and here we are. It is Saturday, March the 3rd.
How much did you wind up getting? Was it like 6 inches, something like that?
I guess whatever's on that table. I didn't bark off the table, so whatever's on that table, I guess. I don't know. Is that a good actor? I don't know. I can find a ruler, and I guess I could stick it on the patio on the back deck there to see how much it is. But
you don't watch the news?
I didn't last night.
I know why. I know why.
I was watching Crow Resin, who's in the chat. Hello, Crow Resin. Purple Hairs was here first. Cammy, hello, Cammy. Welcome, Cammy. Crow Resin. I was watching Crow Resin buy his new truck in American Truck Simulator, and then doing a run, but there was a road closure, and it was going to take him, 14 hours or something. I said, "Dude,
that's
I'm not
the worst, man.
Dude,
when my ramp is closed down,
dude." No, the whole road was closed down. He got off. He tried to double back. He tried to do whatever. The game was having none of it. He just said in the chat that he had to find a rester to wait out the road closure. I was just like, yeah, you know what? I'm not waiting around 12 hours while you do this road. Look, I'm heading to bed. And then luckily Kelly Drew Voss popped in to keep him company. So I think they convoyed up. I'm not sure. But speaking of convoys, we will all be convoying up at 3:00 Eastern, noon Pacific for Raymond Sherrod, the Gaming Sideboard's 50th birthday. 50th birthday.
What were well, you don't know because you're Canadian, but I think the 50-cent pieces weren't those Susan B. Anthony's or something like that. Wasn't that like the 50-cent piece? That's Ray today.
You should ask the Bing chat API. That is the new
I'm calling Ray 50 cent all day today. That's all it is.
That's all it is?
Yep. 50 cent.
Isn't that somebody else?
It's a rapper, yeah.
Oh, didn't he go bankrupt? So isn't he like a nickel now or something?
50 cent. I don't know.
I think he went bankrupt. I think he's a thing. So you had a good week? Busy week at work? You learned how to transcript a Teams meeting? Look at you. Welcome to 2021.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
welcome to 2021.
Yeah, I've never had to record a meeting before. Like I've given plenty of meetings. I've hosted meetings.
Don't you record your presentations and then rip them in the videos and just keep them there in a catalog so when you got other peeps you go, hey, here's a video, go watch it.
We have started recording some training sessions that we've done, but the bigger ones that I do know. So this one that I had on Thursday, I had 44 people in it, which was pretty good. So
that's a good number.
Yeah, that's just a weekly session that we offer to the team. So when they do like the big global meetings, when we have to do those large presentations, I mean, it's thousands and thousands of people, So.
Yeah. All right. So what are we doing today? We got
a lot. There's so much happened this week. Every week, so much happens. I feel like this is the show for people with low attention spans because we go so many different directions. If you have a low attention span, stick around because we don't know where we're going to go. Squirrel. So, but yeah.
Crew Resident says the Susan B. Anthony was $1. Kennedy $50 is what you want.
Thanks, Crow. You're always the man with the plan.
He is. You know what? I don't use ChatGPT. I use Crow GPT.
Yeah, right.
That's what I use. He is much more accurate with his knowledge than the ChatGPT. ChatGPT has nothing on the Crow Resin.
I don't think so. I don't think. However, the Bing GPT knew who I was when Doc was showing me last night, so that was pretty creepy and cool.
Yes, it does. Doc loves that. He loves showing it off to anybody and everybody. Yep. Yeah.
Jeff, it was a big week for me. The NHL trade deadline has now passed.
Yes,
and I think I'm the only NHL fan in the world, so it was a big deal to me.
Well, you're not.
And so that's exactly what I'm going to start us off talking about today. But we have a lot of things we wanted to get to. You're going to talk a little bit about professional esports athletes, right?
I am.
Yeah.
We don't have the thing on the screen.
You're not sharing. There you go. Look at us now. We're professionals.
Look at that. No, we need a producer. We need a producer and a director.
It would be nice. It would be nice. We've got MLB rule changes for 23 as that season looks to kick off soon. You've got a former Cowboy saying so long to the NFL. Jeff's a little sad about that one. There's a new league out there you might not have heard of. What is the TGL? We'll run through some of the hot stories, I guess, from the week that you may not have heard about. And then, Jeff, it's your turn to give me some guesses again today.
Crow Resin, do not look at your I did not know Crow Resin was going to be here. So Crow Resin, do not look at your DMs.
Oh no!
Do not look at your DMs.
You fact checked your 5 guesses. Oh man!
Don't look at your DMs, dude. So trade deadline. All I'm going to say is that is a reminder to everybody that all sports is a business. That's all it is. Yeah. It is a business, and so. You know, these guys and fans always go, "Oh my God, you traded away my favorite." Well, you know what? It's just a business. Other teams want to win, and if you're not winning, someone's got.
Stephen A. Smith went on First Take the other day. The question was asked, "What will be the New York team that will next win a championship?" And the guy that was on the show said the New York Rangers, and Stephen A. Smith was like, "Who? Like what?" Like the NHL is not popular, you know. We don't talk about the NHL, right? You know, it's crazy though because the NHL is getting more popular. In the video game last year, Snoop Dogg during the games he would come in and start talking, and you know LeBron has talked about hockey even though he didn't know where the Kings played, and so it's getting out there more and more. I think the hardest thing with hockey is that there's a lot of foreign players. There's a lot of Russian, Swedish, you know, Finnish, and you can't pronounce their names, you know, because our language uses vowels and consonants in a different sense. So some names are just hard to understand. People just don't follow it, you know. But if you are an NHL fan, there were almost 70 trades since January 1st of this year, which I don't know if that's a record, but that is absolutely incredible that many trades has happened. There were some big ones. This one kind of kicked it off. This big trade here. This guy's name is Bo Horvat, and he used to play for Vancouver, the Canucks, and he was sent to the New York Islanders. So he was a 30-goal scorer before the trade. He already has, I think, 5 more on the season since the 11 games since he's been traded. So he's a goal scorer. He's a good one. This guy here, Tarasenko, he is a dangerous guy. He got sent to the Rangers. So here's the Rangers loading up. I said that guy said the Rangers would win next. Right here, your Toronto Maple Leafs get the captain of St. Louis.
A lot of big news around, a lot of press around this one.
Ryan O'Reilly.
A lot of press in the local media around this one. Yeah.
This one here stings me a little bit. I'm originally from the DC area, so I grew up around the Capitals. They weren't my team though. And since now moving to Carolina and becoming a Hurricanes fan, the Capitals and the Canes have a little bit of a rivalry, right? So Boston is in our division. They currently sit as the top team in the NHL. They haven't even lost 10 games yet. They're on a roll. And here they get really strong because Orlov is a great he moves well with the puck. He's a good passer. He's good out in transition. He forechecks. But this Hathaway guy, in my opinion, is the dirtiest player in the NHL.
Shout out to friend of the community, Joe, big Boston fan from Boston.
So for them to get this guy, that's gonna be great for them come down time for the playoffs, right? Because he's gonna be physical and he's gonna get in people's heads, and that's what he does.
What it's all
this
about.
was a big trade here. Timo Meier, another 30-goal scorer on the season so far. He is going to the New Jersey Devils. Patrick Kane, the most celebrated and most famous American-born hockey player, goes to the Rangers. There's the Rangers loading up again with another star. Jonathan Quick, Stanley Cup winning goaltender. He was with the team for 15 plus years, something like that. He gets traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets and then turned right back around and sent back out to the West Coast to Vegas. So sometimes the trade deadline's not as kind to you. And then there's the Bruins one more time loading up. They just got Tyler Bertuzzi. He's a tough player. He scored 30 goals last year. He's only got 6 this season, kind of having a down year, but he's still a good player. So it's just crazy. Could you imagine this being the NBA or the NFL and seeing this many trades happen before a trade deadline of people with some names? You know?
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that.
It would be
NFL, MLB. They're
yeah, NHL. Blah.
NHL. No, I like the NHL. I'm actually
Pro
just
says I don't fact check hockey. You should.
So one interesting thing that nobody takes into consideration except me because I'm a nerd. Crow Resin does not fact check hockey. All right, typical American doesn't fact check the hockey. The one thing that nobody talks about, and if you go back into my playlist and watch, I think it was episode 2, the business of sports taxation. My boy Robert, the @sports taxman, talks about, and I don't know if he's talked about these specifically, but he always talks about big trades and big things and the tax implications. Nobody talks about the tax implications of players moving from one team to another and going to, let's say, Florida that has no tax, or going to LA that has a crap ton of tax. I don't know all the tax in all of your states. But
the twist side of that is the luxury tax for the owners too, right? Because taking on more salary is going to have them have to pay more at the end of the year as well. So these big market teams can load up because they're wealthier.
That is true. That is true. And we may talk.
And I don't mean the owner is wealthier. I mean the organization is wealthier, right? Because all these owners are millionaires, but not all of their money.
Oh no, they're all
cash.
billionaires. Yeah,
billionaires. But all their money's not cash. A lot of their money is assets. It's a lot of fake, numbers on a screen somewhere, right? So, interesting.
These hedge fund guys.
Yeah. Hot trade deadline. So I'm excited for the second half of the season. Let's see if the Hurricanes can do something against all of these East Coast mites. This is all East Coast teams except for the Vegas trade there. Crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Speaking of sports. Speaking of pro sports. Should should professional esports players be considered athletes? So there's a new professional esports league coming out. There's an article. I didn't put it in the description. Come back after and you'll see the description. It's in my Substack that went out at 9:00. It talks about this, even talks about scholarships. So Zach could get a scholarship to university as being a Rocket League player, because Rocket League, esports Rocket Leagues are huge. So he could forget this. I believe me, I've told him.
Like, dude, why are you not entering into competitions? What's wrong?
Son, forget about the lacrosse. Forget about the hockey. You have no future in that. Rocket League, being a professional Rocket Leaguer, that is the way to go. So
I'd love to gloat about that as a dad.
My question for the chat: it's a whole different world now, isn't it? Whole different world now. Kids just want to grow up and be YouTubers. My question. A lot of the money is fake numbers on a screen. Here's some fake numbers for you too. Purple Haze dropping in a $5.
Burp. You the best.
My question is, what is an athlete? What is the definition of an athlete? Crow, any idea? What's the definition of an athlete? Oh, what defines a sport?
We did it backwards.
All right.
Yeah, we did it backwards.
All right, got it.
What defines a sport?
Folks, you got to pay more attention in the production meeting. Pay more attention in the production meeting. What defines a sport? And I'm not going to be able to read that because that's going to be very.
I got you. There's two definitions here.
Has sports pegged as a comprehensive leisure activity which needs physical effort and skill. Cambridge defines it as a game, competition, or activity needing physical effort and skill that is played or done according to rules for the enjoyment or as a. If you've ever watched me play video games, it is a physical effort. It is a
I was just thinking
effort.
about sex. Sex is now a sport.
Well, it would be a job. It would be a job. You know, there are
for enjoyment. It says for enjoyment and or as a job.
It's a job for some people. Some people, it's a job.
A competitive leisure activity. It's only a sport if you do it next to somebody else.
They call it esport. Sport is in the name, so it has to be a sport. Mm-hmm. I agree on the physical and skill. Golf takes skill, but isn't. Dude, you got to walk from hole to hole. And as an old fat dude, like,
tell
come
Tiger
on.
It's not physical. It messed his back up for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that was the extracurricular.
Oh, maybe. And then what is an athlete? The definition of an athlete, as it stands with Collins Dictionary, is a person who does a sport, especially athletes or track and field events. As Cambridge describes it as a person who is very good at a sport or physical exercise, especially one who competes in organized events. So you know what? By definition, I'm going to say yes. And you know what? These guys, I don't know if you ever watch any of the esports, you know, the behind the scenes and stuff. They all work out. They all exercise. They all, because if you're doing a CS:GO tournament and you're there for 12 hours, you know, you're sitting in your chair, you're gaming. You got to have, you know, that's, you know, I just game for a couple hours 3 times a week and I'm exhausted. Last night I got to the final boss of Gun and I was exhausted after 3 hours of just sitting there killing. And well,
you're also like
mostly dying. I know. I'm 600 years old, so you know. But
geez.
You know, these guys all work out. These guys all, you know.
Well, I mean, you know, because you've seen there's so many tournaments that pop up all over the place, right? Like there's always some kind of tournament. I know that here in Raleigh, we have the playthrough gaming tournament coming here. It's an annual thing that comes through.
Yeah, Arlington has a huge esports stadium. Mm-hmm. I follow them on. I'm in their Discord.
That's that picture right there, is it not?
Looks like it. It's hard to see.
I think it is because it's all the big screens at the front, and it's almost like an auditorium, right?
But a lot of them have that, though. A lot of them.
There's other people that are starting to take notice of this and do things as well. So we were looking around at some things.
Purple Haze, hold on to that question because we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. Did I leak the? Oh, she must have read the show notes that I emailed out. Yeah,
it's that ESPN that she has.
Yeah,
NACE, they're not associated with the NCAA, but they set up tournaments, they house tournaments. Teams can enter and pay you know, fees to be a part of the league, and so it's a lot of the top colleges that are around the country that have teams that participate in this stuff. And it says right here, it focuses on positive development of esports programs at the collegiate level and advocates for members to create varsity programs that include scholarships for its participants and a strong institutional commitment to the sport.
Yep.
So that's exactly what you were saying.
A couple of years ago, was it CS:GO or somebody? They were charging $25,000 for esports teams to enter. You know, my boys over at 100 Thieves and some others. They were discussing it on some of their shows and some of their vlogs and things. It was like going to cost, I don't know, $25,000 to enter in the just to put a team in into the CS:GO league. So there's, you know, and people are watching it. You know, we all game on Twitch and YouTube, and people are watching us for some strange reason. And and other channels, and these tournaments are huge. And before COVID, and I think it's starting to ramp back up again. They have stadiums just filled. League of Legends has thousands of people sitting in a theater watching these guys play League of Legends. Shout out to David Wilson, who's a big League of Legends fan. I've not gotten into League myself, but a lot of people are.
And you can tell it's good. You can tell it's decent because it's been so popular for so long.
Yes, correct.
I mean, I want to say it's going on a decade, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say it was around the 14-15 time that it came out.
One of the big groups I support is Complexity Gaming, co-owned by Jerry Jones. Well, Jerry Jones co-owns everything out in Texas. Can't find anything in Dallas there that he doesn't co-own. But yeah, he's a big co-owner. Same with my boy Tim the Tapman, co-owner of Complexity, and Eric and a bunch of these other guys, and they've got a huge thing. I'm hoping one day to do an interview with the Toronto GC team. They had what they called the Bell House. Bell's like your Verizon out here.
Okay, yeah.
And they had a whole gaming house, a whole content house for them. But content houses have gone away now. But now they've built out a whole new Bell studio with state-of-the-art equipment, state-of-the-art Bell, infrastructure and new computers and all this other stuff. So hoping one day to get out there and do an interview with them. But
it sounds kind of along the lines of what Rock was doing with that team. Maybe not to the same extent, but the involvement.
Yep. Adam Stone. He did some stuff with an esports stuff out in there. So yeah, I think I think it's only going to get bigger.
Well, there's a big event. There's a big event that's coming up that you were chiming in with me about or telling me about. I actually didn't even know this was coming up. So it's the Olympic thing.
Yeah. Yes, the Olympic esports. Olympic.
And this is actually sponsored by the Olympic Committee.
Correct.
Like this is legit.
Correct. There is a link in the show notes that was emailed out. If you don't subscribe to my Substack, shame on you. But yes, they have put out that they're doing this. It's at Olympics.com. You can go to their website. You can see the article. But yeah, Olympics. This is going to be fun. What do we got? Archery. I loved Wii Archery.
They're going to be using a game called Tic Tac Bow for this.
Yeah, I've never used that one myself. I've heard of it, but never used it. Baseball. I don't know why they didn't use MLB, but whatever. Some of these are going to be mobile games, folks. Some of these are going to be on mobile. So yeah, that should be fun.
There you go. That's the big one.
There you go. Purple Haze was asking about chess. So I have played on chess.com. I don't know if Purple has. Anybody wants to play me on chess.com.
Have you ever had to think so much and so hard that you start to sweat? That's where I think the chess players have that physical exertion, The brain is working.
No, the good ones don't. The good ones. There's a video of the good ones don't.
I'd be a hot mess.
Actually, that's a lie. No, that's a lie. There's a video out there. There's a video of Magnus. I think he beat Bill Gates in 12 moves, and I think Bill was sweating. So I think after like 8 or 9, Bill's like,
I watched some video the other day that Magnus guy showing like, late.
Sorry, yeah.
Do you watch that Magnus guy?
I've seen some videos. I don't see him live, but I've seen videos of.
There was a video of him. He was like, I guess the match has to start at a certain time, and I don't want to say the wrong time because I really don't know. I just watched the video. I want to say it's like 3 minutes or something like that. It's like not a long time. And he got there like 30 seconds before the match would be done, and he won the game.
Yeah, it took him 12 moves to beat Bill Gates. Man? So, you know what? Bill Gates was sweating. And, he'd make a move, and Magnus was like, boom. And then Bill's like, So,
I don't think we're going to discount that Bill Gates isn't a smart guy, but he might not be the smartest chess player, right?
Well, he's a really good chess player.
He
is a really good chess player. Yes, he is.
Oh man, there was a fake news story going out about him.
If he wanted to, he could probably be a grandmaster if he wanted to. But he went a different route in his life, which I guess worked out for him. I don't know. So sorry, what were you gonna say?
There was a fake news story going out about him the other day. I feel like there's been a story like that going around about a lot of different stuff here recently. So
what do we consider chess players? And
I mean, I guess if they're going to
chess
be
is
in
our
the
favorite
Olympic
platform.
esports series, then chess has to be a sport, you know, and they have to be athletes. So I watch more Nakamura the most. He's more entertaining, in my opinion. Okay. I don't know much about the game. I know that like the pawns can go one square. I know that the knights can go like 2 forward and 1 over.
I thought you were going to say the
left
little
or right.
horses.
No, I know the names of them. I
I
know the rooks can go in straight lines, but I just
up and over.
yeah, I'm not smart enough, man, to like see 800 moves before they happen. You know, I don't know. So now I tell you what, Jeff, and I know you've probably played this game before. You know the dot game. You know all the dots on the screen. You got to make a line, and then the next person makes a line, and then you got to eventually close the boxes, right? Don't mess with me in that game. All right. I've been playing that on restaurant napkins since I was 4. Okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So we got chess. What else do we got? What other
We got
Olympic?
chess.
What else do we got here?
Cycling.
Sure.
Yeah, that'll be entertaining because that's going to be on like stationary bikes, right?
Swifty. Shout out
here
to
you go.
Ray. I see on Discord it used to pop up and say, or somewhere, that Ray was playing Just Dance. So shout out to Ray, the gaming cyborg. Now that he's 50, maybe he needs to retire from Just Dance.
I think we should see you get in Just Dance. I've seen some of your moves.
You know, that's only snow shoveling in bare feet. That's all you get.
This is probably the biggest name game that they're using.
Maybe.
And you notice it says Gran Turismo, right? They don't specify. Is it the original Gran Turismo?
No, it'd be the newest one.
You think it would?
Yeah, it'd be the next gen one.
Okay. I'm interested to see that. I love that game.
I don't think these esports guys who weren't even alive then are going to be playing Gran Turismo 1 on the PlayStation 1.
I'm going back real quick just for a second. It's going to be interesting to see the players that play archery versus baseball versus chess versus cycling versus dance. Because when you get to motorsports, you're probably going to see a lot of these guys that would stream on, you know, these platforms and things. I feel like because it's just such a big game, right? Not that chess is not. Don't get me wrong.
Chess is huge on Twitch. Chess is huge on Twitch. If you're bored or you're just lying in bed, pull up the Twitch and go to the chess channel. There are some really good, and there's a few ladies out there who they do videos where they show up. You know, when you have that chess in the park, and there's all these dudes who think they're amazing.
Yeah, I've seen that girl that shows up and beats everybody.
Yeah, she just
the little blonde girl. Yeah,
she just comes up and kicks their ass. But there's a few of them out there that they're really good, and there's some really good chess on. I believe there's these twins that do chess of some sort. I don't know their names.
I like when they're so confident, but to say like you're not going to beat me, and then they pull through and you actually don't beat them. Like I find that to be pretty remarkable. You know.
Yeah.
You've got this is a big one for you here because you are a sailing fan now.
Love the sailing. Shout out to the Canadian team. They looks like everything is going to get repaired, and they're going to be in. They're going to be in Christchurch for the next race, and it looks like everything is moving forward.
So if this is virtual regatta, that's going to be VR. So I wonder if they're using the Quest 2. That'll be interesting to see. I know this one's virtual too. Here you go.
There you
go do some virtual taekwondo.
I wanted to do that when I was younger. I just never got around to it. My buddy's a secondary black belt in taekwondo.
And I believe this game is a mobile game. You had said earlier that there's some mobile games. I'm pretty sure this is a mobile game.
Oh, I love Wii Tennis. I used to love Wii Tennis. I used to love it.
I liked Wii Bowling. That was my.
Wii Bowling was good too. Yeah. Is Wii retro now?
I think so.
Is Wii retro? We'll have to find that.
Yeah, because you had the Wii U and now the Switch in between.
I'll have to ask that on Retro Rewind.
Yeah.
Next show in a couple weeks.
So this is cool. There's a lot of cool stuff coming up for video games here. It just keeps growing and growing and growing. We all know it's $1 billion industry, $100 billion industry. I mean, it's ridiculous. So the fact that the Olympic Committee has picked up on that and is starting to highlight it too is pretty cool. So we've got Major League Baseball news coming in, Jeff. All right. And this year, the big news as spring training starts here in the next couple of weeks for these teams is that there's a couple of rule changes.
Spring training has already started.
Well, pitchers are in, right?
No, games.
Everybody's in?
They're games. They're playing games.
Well, it shows you what I do to pay attention to baseball. There you go. Maybe you should have taken this slide.
I've been watching some games with my dad. But go ahead, go over the.
Oh man, I got to be honest. I used to do fantasy baseball every year until about like 6 years ago, right before I moved here. I just couldn't keep up with it anymore because it's just too much, man. There's too many games, 162 games. It's just too much to keep up with. It's like 3/4 of the year when you stop to think about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I did play baseball as a kid. I love the sport. And so these rule changes are interesting because we've heard over recent years that the games are dragging on and it's making people stop watching. And so they're actually instituting a pitch timer now. And there's a couple of different things that aren't explained on here about the pitch timer. So the batters actually get a timeout per at bat. They can only use it once. Right? And so the batters are actually going to have a way to mess back with the pitchers, where it's been usually the pitchers that can mess back with the batters by waiting so long, right? So it's kind of interesting that they've done that. And you can see here 15 seconds with the bases empty, 20 seconds with runners on base, and the pitch timer starts as soon as the pitcher gets the ball.
Yes.
And then there was one more thing, and I'm drawing a blank here. I think there was something about like 7 or 8 seconds in there. There was something about 7 or 8 seconds. I apologize that I don't remember that one. But anyway, the pitch timer is going to be interesting. It's going to help speed up the games. There are a couple of guys that are pros for a long time that went back and played in the minor leagues, and they were testing this last year in the minors, and they said at first they hated it because it's changing the game. But as they pitched with it, they got very comfortable and they really enjoyed it.
So there's 2 clocks. So if you think of the usual wide shot from the center field camera where you see the pitcher, you got the batter, there are 2 clocks and it has a countdown. So yeah, as soon as he gets it, it starts counting it down. You do have a bit longer in case you want to try to pick off the runner. I watched some games.
There's something about a move to third now as well. Was that in the pitch timer?
Yes.
There's something in the pitch timer where if they step off towards third base with a runner on, then it's a balk.
Correct. I watched some of the Grapefruit League games with my dad last weekend, and it wasn't the Blue Jays because they weren't playing. It was another game we were watching. Oh no, it was the Blue Jays. It was the Blue Jays and the Pirates. And they were saying that they were talking about all the games that were finishing, and they were all under 2 hours and 45 minutes. They were like, oh, this game was 2 hours and 15 minutes. Oh, and this game was 2 hours and 30 minutes. And this game was, and I think that game, because there was a bunch of runs, went 2 hours and 45 minutes. So games are now way under 3 hours, because that was the thing, is that it would take forever. You know, and so now, and you know what they're doing? They're looking at ways to speed up all the games. College sports is looking at ways to speed up college football. So I think this is just a first of many leagues that is going to do something.
It's crazy to me though, because you can play 3.5 quarters of a game or 3/4 of a game, whichever way the game is split up. Okay. You can play 3/4 of a game and the time can just go by, but that last quarter of the game can take just as long.
That last minute basketball, 45 minutes. Yeah,
absolutely. So I wonder what this is going to do come playoff time.
We'll see. It's going to be interesting. Yeah. So what about the next? What's the shift stuff? I have some comments on this. Yeah,
defensive shifts. So in recent years, teams have been using analytics, to their advantage, and all of baseball is probably one of the most analyzed games when it comes to data that there is. There are so many stats for baseball. I don't even know what half of them are, right? Or why you would even want to know them, but they do. And so hitters have tendencies, right? Especially based on certain pitches. So if you're going to throw a curveball to this guy low and away, the data shows 9 out of 10 times he's going to go to left field. So what teams have been doing is they've been shifting their whole team when that guy comes up to plate over to the left side of the field, and it makes it impossible for that guy to get anything. It's smart coaching, to be quite honest with you. Well, MLB doesn't like it because they want there to be, plays where people have to dive and run, and, they want those exciting plays in the infield where you have somebody stretched out, backhanding the ball and throwing across their body over to first. Like, they want that stuff. So they've decided now that there's a dotted line down the middle of the field, and you have to have 2 people on the left side and 2 people on the right side, which is basically first and second on the right and shortstop and third on the left. So, it's exactly what they were doing all the time anyway, but they're actually now enforcing it.
What's missing on that? What is missing from there?
Infielders must have both. Infielders may not switch sides unless.
My question: who's missing from that slide?
Pitchers, catchers.
Outfielders.
Outfielders.
Outfielders. So you know what they're going to do? They're going to be bringing an outfielder down. So they're just there. You can't shift, but you're still going to bring down the extra outfielder, or you're going to shift your outfielders. So if the guy
who's to say that you don't start right center, left center, bring somebody right down behind second base? You got 5 around the infield,
That's exactly
you're right.
what they're going to do. And these are professional athletes. They're going to start to change their tendencies.
Yeah.
They're going
What up, geek?
They're going to rethink. They're going to rethink how they hit. They're going to relearn to hit.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be another change next year dealing with outfielders, because we're going to see a lot of that left fielder come to center, and the center is going to play down. They don't talk about that, but I can see that happening. I can, especially come the playoffs. They may not do it most of the season, because it's like you said, it's 162 games. You lose a few. But in the playoffs, when it's one and done, and you best of 3, best of 5, you watch. There's going to be a lot of
Well, the playoffs of every sport bring out the the whiteboard, right? That's when everybody's getting really creative. You cruise control the whole season. You work on things. You try different lineups, or you try different methods. Based on who's playing or whatever. And then when it comes playoff time, it's completely different.
Oh yeah. Oh,
you talk about a pregame meeting during the regular season versus a pregame meeting in the playoffs. It's 2 totally different atmospheres, right? So
everybody laughs at the Cowboys because they'll come out and play, and they'll throw out some weird play, and they're like, "What was that? What was that?" I'm like, "They're putting it on film." Now, as a team, you've got to defend against. They may never call that. They may have thrown that piece of paper away. But now, as a team, you have to defend that they may be doing that. So yeah, a lot of
game with inside the game.
There is a lot of people put stuff. My son and executive producer of the show, Jeffrey, would always laugh at me because we'd be playing Madden, or we'd be doing something, and I'd have like Zeke at wide receiver. He goes, "Just put it on film. Just put it on film. Are you that Zeke's at wide receiver?" Because then when it came down to the Super Bowl, never knew what I was going to do. And he'd go back and look at the stats. And he goes, "Really?
Oh my gosh.
Really? Zeke threw the ball? Zeke threw 8 passes? Yeah, Zeke threw passes. Yeah. You have Des Bryant at halfback? Yes, I do. Yeah, I have him.
Is this the last time you played Madden? That was like 6 years ago.
That was 6 years ago. Yeah. So
that was the Gronk. That was the Gronk cover, 2017.
That was Zeke's first year. So yes. So he used to always laugh at me. He goes, "Just putting it on film, are you? Just putting it on film?" Yep, putting it on film, because you never know when I'm going to switch when I'm going to switch it up. So and then
the last thing there changes the bigger bases, right?
Yeah.
And I think what they've seen is, especially at first and third at the corners, when the first baseman or the third baseman has their foot on the bag, it really obstructs the runner from having a safe place to land. And so people have been stepped on. People have had to step awkwardly on the base and roll their ankles. It's a safety thing. That's really all it is. But what I find interesting is that you have probably the greatest base runner in the history of the game, Ricky Henderson. If he had bases that were 3 inches wider, what would his numbers do? And this is my problem with sports changing rules. I understand that from a competitive aspect and things, look at the NBA. The NBA player has morphed into this super uber athletic, athlete that can shoot from all over the court, right? So for Steph Curry to take 700 3-pointers in a year versus Ray Allen, who ever only took 300, or Reggie Miller, who only ever took 250, it's kudos to him. Please don't. I'm not taking anything away from Curry. It just like when I look at this and I think back about like history, it's like, God, man, Ricky Henderson was the greatest base stealer probably in the history of Major League Baseball. What would he do with 3 more inches on a base?
Like, probably nothing. I don't think it would have mattered.
You don't think it would make that big of a deal?
I don't think he got. Someone fact check me. I don't think he got caught stealing all that often.
I would love to know.
I don't think.
This is like really getting into analytics, but I'd love to know on how many tag outs the distance away from the base they were.
Yeah.
That'd be a crazy stat, but
I don't know.
This is a little better visual of what is going on with these things. So there's those clocks that you were talking about. There's that dotted line down the middle for the shift limits, and then the bigger bases. So you can see the red was the old and the green is the new. So, man.
Yep.
All right, let's keep moving, Jeff. You got some sad news to share.
Oh, it's not that sad.
Well,
he left the team, so I'm done with him. He's still, he's still brought up right now. The NFL Combine is going on right now. I'll be watching that coming up at 1:00 today. They still talk.
Is it receivers today? Who's today?
What day is today? Today is
Saturday.
Saturday. So yes,
day 3.
It is quarterbacks and receivers. Tomorrow is running backs and tight ends.
Okay. Look for my guy. Look for my boy.
Was he invited to the Combine?
Don't know, but look for him anyway.
All right. No. So yes, Byron Jones, first round pick of our Cowboys. He set the world record for the broad jump at that combine.
38 inches or something.
He had a great combine. And some guys we're going to talk combine at a future event, but there's a guy that I'm banging the table for to be a first round pick. Last year was Desmond Ridder. This year it's this other guy whose name I can't pronounce. And he left the Cowboys, as most do. Went on to play for the Dolphins, and then he announced his retirement this week. But then he said something controversial.
Yep, he did.
Apparently, he said, "Don't take the pills, don't take the drugs." Apparently, and I don't have enough. I didn't research this more because I didn't care. But I guess they gave him something, and I guess it had some adverse effect to him, and he wasn't real happy, and so yeah. Yeah,
well, you can see down there at the bottom.
There hasn't been much more about it come out, so we'll have to see if more does come out later.
Yeah, down at the bottom there, he talks about the chronic pain and disabilities. Yes. He's apparently having a really tough time walking. Now he's only been in the league 8 years, or he's had 8 full seasons, right? So that's a pretty good career, I'd say. You know, he's he did a lot of stuff during his career. So it's I look back at like movies like Varsity Blues. Did you ever see Varsity Blues, Jeff?
Yes, sir.
They take the running back in the locker room, and the coach is trying to give him the needle, and the guy's like, "Don't do it." You know, a lot of this stuff goes on. These guys are slapped with duct tape and told to go back out. The game is more violent. It's more physical than it's ever been. Players are bigger, faster, stronger. You know, they've had years and years of football to watch, to improve techniques, to know how to hit, when to hit. But I think there's also a numbness that goes over their bodies too, when this stuff happens because of that adrenaline, right? So it's once he calms down, and now it's like, oh shit, my body is like done.
The NFL Combine is going on. These are 21-year-old kids. He's a defensive end, he's defensive tackle. And he's 300 and something pounds, and he's running a 4.5 40. You know, he's just running a 4. Like some of these guys, they are bigger, stronger, in full pads. These guys can run down running backs and tight ends. Like these guys are fast.
All right, Jeff,
faster now than it was in our day.
You watched more 80s football than I did, or you remember the early 80s football. You remember more early 80s football than I do. Lawrence Taylor was a freak. He was one of the strongest people. He's one of the most physical and fearsome guys in the league. There just wasn't anybody else like him. Now,
Larry Allen,
there's 30 of those types of guys. There's one on each team.
Yeah,
you know,
Larry Allen could bench press 700 or something pounds, like at the old Pro Bowl. Like he would bench press some insane number. Just some insane number, and that was back then. There wasn't a lot of them. Now, there's YouTube videos of all these all these guys, just running backs and whatever, pumping out 600, 700, 800 pounds. They're all getting, all the teams have strength coaches, and all the teams have all these guys, and they run the analytics, and
And it starts at the high school level. It doesn't even start at college anymore. Like the high school teams are now getting these facilities, and they're getting these capabilities to do this stuff. Technology, the fact that concussions has become such a big part. Like my kids had to take a concussion test before they could even step on the field because they had to have a baseline in case something happened to them when they get hurt. Like, there's just so many more resources that are put in here. And you got the refrigerator on there, Perp, because I was actually going to to talk about some of those guys. You know, I know you don't play Madden, right, Jeff? I don't know if you don't have to tell me if you did or not, but when it came out on Game Pass here recently, I jumped in and I played. Like the first game that you play, the way that it starts it up is it's like an all AFC Madden team against an all NFC Madden team with AFC John Gruden as the coach. Young John Gruden's the AFC coach, and older John Gruden is the NFC coach. And seeing some of the names on there as you're cycling through the players, it was pretty cool. And Fridge was one of them. Yeah, so I had him on the line. It was good.
Now it's not uncommon for a defensive end or an offensive guard to come out and they put him in a package and he goes and catches. I think last year's Super Bowls or a couple Super Bowls ago, guy caught one. So yeah,
believe it or not, Warren Sapp made quite a few plays like that around the goal line. J.J. Watt was another one that did it quite frequently, right? So I think the Browns have even thrown Myles Garrett in on those goal line plays. So it's pretty cool.
Yes,
all right. What do we got next? We've got a new league. If you haven't heard of the TGL, you might want to pay attention. Who has been to Topgolf or some golf driving range that has, like a game to it? Well, the TGL is called, all I could find was the Golf League. Okay. It says Golf League on the website, but the T doesn't have anything. So I'm assuming it's the Golf League.
It has to be, the acronym has to be a TLA.
TLA?
Yeah. 3-letter acronym.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I got you. So as you see on the screen, if you don't know these guys, that's Tiger Woods on the left. That's Rory McIlroy on the right. They're good friends and they're business partners in some other ventures too. But they have decided to form the Golf League and a new arena for it to be played in. So the golfers are actually going to be playing virtual golf on a large screen in front of a stadium full of people. And then as you can see, the green on the ground there's an actual putting green. There's about 100 yards of golf that's right there. And so they'll finish the short game live in front of everybody so that they can stay all in the same arena. So all the long shots, drivers, irons will be virtual, and then chips and putts will be in person. There's a ton of people, Jeff, that are invested into this. Big names. You were giddy about this list here. I mean, Steph Curry, Lewis Hamilton. Look at the international presence, right? Lewis Hamilton, Andy Murray. You've got Shohei Ohtani, who's a baseball player for the Angels. There's your guy, Tony Joko,
Anthony Romo.
And I think that seeing Ninja in there is kind of cool too, because it adds that kind of hip young tech love to it, right? He's a streamer. He can bring in some viewers there. So a lot of guys have already signed up to be a part of this. There's Tiger and Rory. Justin Thomas, he is a green jacket winner. You've got John Rahm, who's one of the dangerous players in the world. Morikawa, Adam Scott, Matt Fitzpatrick, Matt Homa, he's a big hitter. Horschel, and then Justin Rose back here, and Schauffele.
I hope John Daly participates as a fellow, old fat white guy. I hope he.
You never know with him what it's going to do. If he's allowed to drink and play, then they can be the beer golf league. Change it to BGL.
Exactly. I'd love to see him up there.
TGL. All right, Jeff. What are you hearing about? What's the word on the street, as our man Hulk Hogan is trying to tell us? The first thing was this. You watched this, didn't you?
I did. It's amazing when Jake Paul actually fights a real fighter, not just some old decrepit MMA guy or a baseball player or some esport, sports, He fought a real now people are gonna say, oh, but Jeff, it took him to split decision. Why did
I was exactly going to say that, because he actually won one of the judges, right? He was a winner for one judge.
I didn't have him winning anything when I watched it. But
I don't care for him. I know it's
all.
What?
It's all showmanship. It's all money. Yeah. They're gonna lug back that Scottish idiot who I wish would just roll up and die.
Reggie.
But people want to see him, and people are gonna pay And it's just like, and he's going to lose
because people want him to get his ass kicked, and then he hasn't been. So it's like, oh no, we're going to come to the next one.
Because he has been. He hasn't won anything since Christ was a child. He hasn't won any. Somebody fact checked me on that.
What are you talking about?
Conor McGregor. He hasn't won.
Oh, I was talking about Jake Paul. I moved on over to McGregor for a minute. Because he hasn't won. He hasn't won in a while since before.
He hasn't won in a while, but it's like, again, they're gonna lug his sorry ass out, and again they're gonna hype it up, and he's gonna run around in some stupid looking suit.
Yeah.
But yes, Tommy Fury is an actual fighter. He comes from a family of fighting. So yeah. I didn't have.
I think it's even more impressive that Jake Paul went the distance with him, because he's just started training to do this, right? Like it's more of a show to him than it is actual trying to craft, his skills for the sport. He obviously can take a punch. He had a pretty.
I think Fury didn't go as hard on him as he would have if he was fighting a real fighter. And I think because when McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather was just toying with him, and then finally, Mayweather could have knocked him out in the first 10 seconds, but he didn't, because that wouldn't have been good. I watched the
announcement. Fury was pretty emotional when he won. It seemed like it was a pretty big deal to him. I know they were talking some smack and this and that, but I was shocked at how he reacted after winning, because it made it seem like it was the greatest victory of his life or something, but maybe there's more to that story that I just don't know. So all right, so there was that, and then you had sent me this one over here, because this is all about the draft. So
the NFL Combine is going on right now, and teams are cutting back on sending people out. They're not sending as many coaches. The NFL season, there's a lot going on, and they're saving money, and they're keeping people. It's a very short time window. You got the franchise tag, you've got the combine, and you've got this. There's a lot more combines now to send coaches to. There's a lot more things going on. And
that third point there is disturbing to me. Yeah.
Yep. There was the offensive coordinator from the Chargers was on the field running the drill, and they were talking about that with Eisen and DJ yesterday, and they're like, "Why is he not just up there with all the others? Why is he not?" He was right. I think they were just short. He likes it, and B, they were just short some people, and so he was.
Well, we were talking about
running the drills.
We were talking about the college game, and I had said, like, the coaches that lost, they picked a lot of coaches that lost to coach that game. We talked about that, and you were like, well, hey, the other coaches are still in the playoffs, and this and that. Why don't they use the college coaches for this stuff? If you use the NFL coaches to coach the college, what is that, the blue-gray game? What do they call it?
There's the East-West. There's the East-West game, and then there's the Senior Bowl.
Yeah. So the Senior Bowl. So if you use pro coaches for that, why not bring the college coaches up to? They've been working with these guys. Let them come in and run these drills.
Because not all U.S. teams are made equally. You'll listen to some guys, and they'll be like, "Oh, he's going to be asked to do this, but he never did that in college." So if you run a run and shoot offense where you're always in shotgun and you're always passing, run, and you never run the ball, asking a kid to come up and play center is impossible. So you want the coaches that are at the next level, that are part of that program. So they're teaching them what you have to do to be on our team. And these guys want to see how they take direction to be on that team. So that's a good point.
That's a good point. All right. We talked about some cards last week. We talked about Ian Neshu. God, I never say her name right. Sabrina. And so you sent this to me, and you were like, well, not all cards are created equal, because here you go. This is a LeBron James rookie card. It is exquisite. It's got an 8.5 rating on there, which is, it's pretty good. It was sold at an auction for $720,000 when it was purchased previously for $2.1 million. So it says it's a loss of $1.38 million, or $5,633 each day the owner had it. Could you imagine just giving away $5,600 a day, Jeff? Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting to see if Gary V's big into cards now, and
Yeah. I wonder
Ryan
why this.
Rudy and a lot of other. I wonder what some of the other guys think of
Why would
this.
this fall in value when he just became the leading scorer in NBA history?
Supply and demand, and it's just when
Man.
they say, "Oh, this is worth this," no, it's only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it, and somebody really wasn't willing to. Maybe because it was an 8.5, maybe if it was a 8.6, I don't know.
I mean, at that point, if I pay 2.1 million for it, I must have either needed to get some money quick, or I'm an idiot because I hold that until it returns its value to me. I don't know.
I don't think the person sold it think it was going to get that low, and he probably had a no reserve on it, and it sold, and he had no choice.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
Well, how about this one? This one is a little crazy to see. Tom Brady as a catcher in Major League Baseball. Jeff, what is this?
He was drafted
the
by
Expos.
the Expos.
That's the Expos. That means he's a Washington National now.
He would have been. He would have been. God. He would have been. Nope.
Yeah, hell of a tax write-off. It's right.
Hell of a tax write-off. There you go.
On that
that would have been a capital. That would have been a capital gains loss. That would have been a capital loss. So
1.3 million.
This makes me
so
sad.
He would have
not because of Tom Brady, but because the Expos are gone. Now I know I have the Blue Jays, and they're just down the road from me, and I can go see Major League Baseball, and I might want. But I was always a big Expo fan. Jeff Reardon, loved Jeff Reardon, the name, and he was a
Vlad Guerrero, buddy.
And
how can you not think Expos and not think about no glove Vlad Guerrero?
And his son is killing it on the Blue Jays.
His son is killing it.
Jeff Reardon was, there was a bunch of guys. Gary Carter.
Even had
Gary Carter was perennial all-star for the Expos.
Pedro Martinez.
Yeah, he's more famous.
He went to the Bo Sox.
Yep.
So yeah,
he's on New York too for a while, wasn't he? Wasn't he on?
So he's gonna be in this year's Bowman Draft baseball card. And it says, and yes, there will be autographs. This is going to be a massive card. So we're never going to get rid of Tom Brady, because now we're going to have him in a baseball card, and the next year we're going to get him in the booth. So he's never going to take a break.
Nope.
All right. This is one that I talked about last week. Kind of a big deal in my house just because it's women's soccer. But this was the president of the Canada Soccer Federation, and he stepped down, saying that change is needed to achieve the labor peace. He wasn't the man for the job. He resigns.
Yep. Correct.
The very next day, new agreement.
Yep.
It's an interim agreement. But it's
an agreement nonetheless.
It did enough to appease the women that were threatening not to play, right? So it's not over, but it is a step in the right direction, and hopefully, the step down of that president hopefully was a good. Good motivating factor for everyone to get involved, right?
100%.
So because they are a really good team, it's unfortunate. You have a really good soccer team up there. So
100%.
You know a lot about this, so I'm gonna let you take it.
There are a lot of regional sports companies. AT&T. They're getting away from maybe not in your region, but in a bunch of the different regions. They're just cutting. There's no money. They're just not. There's just no money in it for them. And so now some teams, and that's teams work hard. They're looking for that TV money. So now ESPN is going to, they're going to try to pick up those rights, and they're looking at moving to expanding ESPN Plus. So you can just, they're just trying to.
I have a gripe with ESPN Plus, but it's not.
It's not hub, just one big hub, so you can see the live games. You can click on it. You can do this, that, and the other. So yeah. What's Purple say here? See, everyone. Sometimes
I was reading it. That's why I got stuck.
See, you're not going to.
You wrote a paragraph. I had to catch up.
You have some friends who think the same way. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, so ESPN is looking to. They've been talking about this for a while, and I think that with some of these other little smaller, like New York, you got the MSG network, right?
Yeah.
And you've got RSN, and you've got these others, sort of these regional ones that do all the Texas, the Astros and the Rangers,
Sports South,
and you've got your right. So
I have a gripe with ESPN Plus because I found out that they had the hockey rights, and we don't have Bally Sports as part of. We have YouTube TV, and they don't have Bally Sports. I'm not going to pay $120 for Bally Sports just to only watch Canes games. I mean, that sounds ridiculous to me. Granted, you get Braves games and this and that, but I only want it for the Canes. And so we signed up for ESPN Plus so that we could watch hockey. And every freaking Hurricanes game is blacked out.
Yeah.
So now I just wasted $100. I mean, my kids are going to watch the collegiate sports. ESPN Plus is great for collegiate sports, by the way. My son has been watching collegiate hockey, which he wouldn't get to do if I didn't have that, right? So my daughter's watching, soccer games from this past season, picking up on. It's great. There's a lot of information in there. The app is clunky. It's actually kind of shitty, and the blackout thing. But that just goes without saying. It frustrates me that happens.
Yep.
So. All right. You had this one here. We were going to talk about this earlier, but decided to push it back. More along the lines of the money. You were talking about like the tax breaks for the players, and I had brought up luxury tax for the teams and the owners. And the luxury tax really comes into play when you talk about the payroll, right? Look at the Mets payroll there, $355 million. So their owner is going to pay, $35 million in tax on that or something like that. And then the A's, they're always one of the cheapest teams, right? So $61 million is their payroll. I would say that the Pittsburgh Pirates payroll is probably around in the $70 million range because the A's and the Pirates seem to be that like minor league team system for the major league teams. It's crazy, Crow. It sucks, man. Like I paid you money because you said that I could watch the game and now I'm blacked out. So that's ridiculous.
Well, that's because the regional sports have the rights to it.
Yep.
The regional sports have the rights to it, right? Which is what ESPN wants to get away from. They want to change the rules, and they want to so they can control it all. And the regional that's why it's blacked out, right? So Anyways,
think about the biggest teams in baseball, right? You have the Boston Red Sox, you have the New York Yankees, you have the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Mets because their payroll is really high. I would say the Phillies are kind of up there too, right? But these teams, they just continue to get more and more players. The Yankees always have stars on their roster. That's just their method for success. Like we're going to have stars.
San Diego is paying the guy $1 billion over 11 years.
Tatis Jr.
$8 gazillion.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So
$8 gazillion.
They're committed to take a look at this and address the financial disparity between teams because. Look, if this team over here is going to offer me $35 million and you can only offer me 17, where do you think I'm going to go? So interesting.
Don't forget the tax implications.
Yeah.
Shout out to my boy Robert, my friend Robert. Go watch the.
That's why a lot of these guys own houses in Florida and in Texas and these other places. So
that's their place of residence. Yeah,
property there, and then they rent out wherever they work.
And they still, when they play games, they still have to pay tax in those states. So
if their game check comes in from that state,
correct.
Yep.
All
right. I think that was the last one.
I think so.
So we are into this next section. There you go. Looks like it's time.
It's time. Sorry.
I should have had that queued up actually.
He's my least favorite of the Buffer brothers.
Bruce, Brucey boy.
he's my least favorite. I tweeted him once. I was at a bar. I was drinking and watching UFC with a buddy, and I actually tweeted him and I made some comment about his brother, and he tweeted me back and he goes, "Guess who his manager is? I'm his manager." So fuck you.
My gosh. Oh my gosh.
I should find that tweet. That was hilarious. Okay.
We had Kenny Albert as the stadium announcer for the Redskins for many years after Marv got hit with that little lawsuit back in the 90s. We had Kenny Albert for quite a while as our stadium announcer, and then he took off once he got some of those lead roles. So that was pretty cool. Hearing that voice because they sound the same, don't they?
They do. They sound the same.
Sounds super similar. All right, 5 guesses. It is time. You got your did you hear about bar going?
Oh, yeah. So, Ryzak and chat. 5 guesses. This is the 5 guesses for Ryzak and the chat. Come on. Oh, I got to scroll down. All right, here we go.
I was going to wear a Redskins jersey today, Jeff. I was going to wear my Champ Bailey jersey because you were talking about Byron Jones, and I couldn't find it. So,
for Ryzak in the chat, top candies of all time.
Candies?
Candies.
Is it just candies, or is it chocolate versus sugary?
Candies.
Candy. Okay. My number one guess.
Mm-hmm.
My number one guess is going to be Snickers.
Ooh, nice.
Okay.
That's number 3.
My number 2 guess is going to be Haribo gummy bears.
That is number 6.
Damn.
Number 6.
Kit Kat.
Kit Kat is number 4.
Number 4. What is number 1? It's probably gonna be something super silly like peppermints or something.
I've been on the list.
Candy. Peppermints aren't on the list. I have a big jar of them in my house all the time. Nerds?
No.
No? Okay. Sour Patch Kids.
Good guess, but no.
Okay. Mars bars? I guess that's the company. So Milky Way, Three Musketeers?
Nope.
Okay. Man.
There's one you might not get.
Is it okay? So let me ask this: are some of them international? Is there a crunchy on there?
There is not.
Or a flake?
Don't know what that is.
It's a chocolate wafer bar. And
no Cadbury.
No Cadbury's?
No Cadbury. No Cadbury.
All right. So I went Kit Kat. I went Snickers.
Again, not just chocolate bars.
Right.
Say it. Nope, say it.
Twizzlers.
Number 10.
Yes. That's my jam. The sour gummy worms are my favorite.
Question again, Purple Haze. Question again. Top 5 or top candies of all
top candies.
Time. Not just chocolate.
I got one left.
Twizzlers is not a.
Yep.
Twizzlers
I got one guess left, Jeff. So I'm going to wait and see what Purple says first.
Or something, aren't you? Now you were talking.
Man, no, I have a 4.
Or those weren't official guesses. You were just kind of fishing. Okay.
All right, I'm going to go one last one.
Question again. Your top 5 candies.
I'm going one more. I'm going to go bubble gum.
Surprisingly, no.
What?
All right, Purple. He's out of guesses. Let's go. Give us your top 5. My number 1 is the number 1.
Well, then I want to find out what that is in a minute because I'm pretty sure I hammered some of the big ones, didn't I?
Crow said. Purple says number.
M&M's. God, I'm an idiot.
Number 2.
Number 2. Skittles.
No Skittles.
What? Starburst.
No Starburst.
What? Is it Willy Wonka?
No Willy Wonka.
God dang.
There's one on the list you may not get.
Peppermint Patty?
But I loved it. That's a Peanuts character. I loved this in the 80s.
Reese's Cups? That's number 1? No shit.
Number
Reese's
1.
Cups.
According to this list, Reese Peanut Butter Cup. Fun fact, Reese worked for Hershey's.
Mm-hmm.
And he invented this on his own and sold it on his own. And that when he died, his family sold it back to Hershey.
Have you ever been to Hershey Park?
I have not. Yeah, Reese is number 1 to Purple Haze. Yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
And I love peanut butter. Like I love peanut butter snacks.
Crow Resin, waiting for Crow Resin. And the reason I told Crow Resin I didn't think Crow was going to join us for the show, so I actually sent him the question. I sent him the question this morning. I said, for top 5 candies. I don't know if he responded to my DM because he did respond later and said, too late, because he already read my message. He didn't answer. Did he answer? Oh, he didn't answer.
Good thing it wasn't my top 5 candies because y'all would have really seen how bad my teeth are with my list.
Because Reese's Pieces was to combat M&M's. Yes.
I have a sweet tooth.
I hate Reese's Pieces. I love Reese Peanut Butter Cups. I hate Reese Pieces. I hate them.
Really, I'm the other way. I like Reese's Pieces, but not the peanut butter cups.
So number
No,
5.
so wait, do you like the round flat ones like this, or do you like the like
No, the peanut butter
taller?
cup. Oh, the cups.
So what are the other ones called? The like miniature cups. Because you have like the Reese cups, which are like round like that, right?
No, they have the
But
Reese's.
then you have like a smaller one that was a little taller.
Like,
Well, Reese Pieces are like M&Ms. They're like orange and brown, right? But then there's
everything
another.
everything else is a cup. They call them cups. Doesn't matter.
It's almost the size of like a Hershey Kiss.
Yeah.
Oh, was Hershey Kiss on there?
They were not. But another Hershey's product was, which was
Hershey chocolate bar. Just
Hershey.
Bruce.
Yeah, there are 3 left.
3 left.
3 left.
Well, I'm out of guesses, so.
Well, but so Bruce Campbell, the question is top 5 candies of all time. Well, actually, I have a top 10 list here. I have a top 10 list.
Perp said Oreos. I don't know if that's considered a candy, though.
No, that's a cookie. There's one on there that Crow Resin would know. You and Bruce, you youngins, may not know this, but I love this in the 80s.
Is it like a Clark bar?
It is not.
What about an O. Henry?
No O. Henry. I love O. Henry. Oh, Ferrero Rocher, good. That's too fancy for this. That's too fancy for mine. That's too fancy.
Jolly Rancher, that's a good one. Jolly Ranchers.
Jolly Rancher is a good one. Crow Resin, though,
Airheads.
In the 80s, what did we eat? What candy came in a little pouch? You opened it up.
The Fun Dip?
No.
Oh, Pop Rocks.
Pop Rocks.
Pop Rocks.
Pop Rocks was number 8.
I had a girlfriend one time that introduced some Pop Rocks. We won't.
Do I have? I don't know if I have a number. That was bad. I should have dug out. number. I should have dug out number 7. So there's one missing.
Now and Later. That's a good one, Cammy.
Oh, we're missing 2. No Joe Louis.
Whatchamacallit?
Think tiny and multicolored.
Oh, I said nerds. You told me it wasn't on there.
You did, and I said no.
Multicolored and small. Yeah. I said Skittles. You said no.
Uh-huh.
Tic Tacs?
No.
Jolly Ranchers was said.
So he's an old girlfriend with you. He said peppermint. It is not.
Oh, yes.
But see,
always a good story.
Purple. When you look like him.
Oh, come on, man.
When you look like me, none.
Nah.
All right, you guys ready for the last 2? And you may not. One.
Yeah, I think we need some help.
One have been around for a long time, and it's a collectible.
It's a collectible.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna tell us? Or?
No guesses. It's been around for a long time.
I mean,
collectible.
And
they're the most famous of all of them. The most popular I guess, is the one with Santa.
Advent calendar.
Any more guesses from the chat? Bruce Campbell. I'm
Carmelos. Caramel. What were those? Little bit of honeys.
Starts with P. Pez. Crow Resin. Banging it out of the part. Pez.
I bought my kids a Pez for Valentine's Day. They didn't even want it. They said it was gross.
And there is one more bean.
Those little cigarette things that you could smoke and then chew as the gum.
One more bean. You're missing the
one more bean jelly beans.
You're missing that. So let's recap. Let's recap number 10. Twizzlers.
That's a very obvious one. Why didn't I say jelly beans? That's like the most essential Easter candy.
Number 10, Twizzlers. Number 9, Pez. Number 8, Pop Rocks. Number 7, jelly beans. Number 6, gummy bears.
Love gummy bears.
Number 5, just the plain Hershey bar, which I guess started it all for Hershey.
So I wonder if Hershey bars are bought more to consume or to make s'mores with.
That's Bruce Campbell,
or to consume by themselves. Right? I can't stand jelly beans. I don't like the black licorice ones.
Yeah. Crow Resin got the Pez. You got a little good job.
I didn't even think about Pez.
Yeah.
I actually like. Do you have a candy store at the mall, Jeff?
My collectible had to.
The jelly beans.
I haven't had the right one.
I used to go into the candy store, right? So I was trying to like put myself there and like look around, and all I saw was like gobstoppers and like all the shitty candy that you're not supposed to have.
So number 5 was Hershey. Number 4 was your Kit Kat.
Mm-hmm.
3 was Snickers. 3 was Snickers. 2 was M&M's. And number 1. Excuse me, number 1. My favorite of all time. I like the extra thick one that comes. It's like this thick. It's one. It's like this thick, and it takes like I can do it in one thing because I'm a little fat guy. Crow Resin says black jelly beans are the best.
Oh.
Bruce Campbell says I like the black ones because I like black. Yeah, I hate black licorice, so I hate black licorice.
Oh.
Gummy. Fun fact: when I go to the bulk store to get gummy bears, I put a bag on my hand and I pick out all the red and orange because that's the only ones I like. So I show up at the counter of the bulk. This is back in the olden days before COVID.
I don't feel like
I would show up with a big bag of orange, and she's like, "Did you leave any? You took them all? And how did you do that?" And I have a glove, and I was safe. I wasn't just picking at them with my dirty, gross hand. I put a thing on, and I was picking out all the orange. And
you need to go to Times Square, and you need to go to the M&M store because they have all of the colors sorted for you, and then you can just get what you want.
Nice. So yeah. So top. How about that was what top 5?
That was a good one.
I did top 5 stadiums,
and
you thought I was going to just do sports shit, give you top goal scorers or some horse shit. No. I'm going all over the.
I almost gave you last week. I almost gave you stadium food. But most of the lists were just focused on America, and I didn't want to be that guy. So what did we do last week? We did movies, grossing movies last week.
Yeah, so now
which is kind of biased, as we found out, because most of those movies were after 2000. So.
Again, I'm pulling mine from a very specific list, which at some point I will explain where I got it from, maybe someday. But at the moment. This is where I'm pulling it from. You can argue any of these, right? But Pop Rocks. I'd forgotten about Pop Rocks, and my kids are like,
I thought that was a good list. My parents used to own a store when I was a kid. They owned an antique store, and we used to go up to Pennsylvania all the time, to the Pennsylvania Dutch country, and we would go to Yankee Candle. And we would go over to the Pennsylvania Dutch Candy Factory, and they would get, all of those sticks that were like swirled, right? Like the candy sticks of different flavors, watermelon, cherry, whatever. And they would have those in jars on the counter. But they would also get rock candy. Do you know what rock candy is?
I think so. Isn't it kind of like Pop Rocks?
It's a wooden stick, and it's like really hard, sugary candy that looks like stalactite or stalagmite. Like it's like a rock formation. It was the hardest candy in the world, and people loved it. I hated it.
I think we had that in Canada. Bruce Campbell, fact check me on that. I don't think we had that, at least in my part of Canada.
But it was cool because my parents used to sell these things for like 5 cents, right? My parents when they owned their business, they wanted to always have something in the store that somebody could buy. They didn't want everything to be, over $20 or what they did. So my dad would legit put these things on the counter, and he would sell them for a nickel. That way, if you walked in and you only had pocket change, you could walk out with something, right? And 9 times out of 10, they would just grab a handful or a couple of them, a couple different ones, and throw them in the bag for people and let them go out the door, right? And so it always became like my parents were the candy people. So I grew up eating candy, man. Candy was big.
There you go. But yeah, those are my 5 guesses. Good job on the chat. Good job on the chat coming up with some of them you wouldn't have guessed.
Nice,
Pez.
Bruce.
You wouldn't have guessed Pez, Twizzlers, gummy, but you got gummy bears. That was
gummy bears. Well, that's my favorite. So
yeah,
I was surprised that Nerds wasn't on there, or Starburst, or Skittles even. Surprised Skittles wasn't on there.
This panel of experts that.
Hey, man.
That does this and comes up with it. And it's funny because they even argue.
It's always about criteria, right? It's always about like who the audience was that made the list. And
they always argue about why is that on the list? That shouldn't be on the list. This should be on the list. So even the experts argue about what should and should not be on the list, right? It's just, and again, everybody just votes and they all just tally the votes. And this is what comes up to Jeff's list every 2 weeks. So you're up next week.
I am. I got a good one already. I'm already prepared. So
Oh, nice.
it'll be fun to get your guesses next week and see
Yeah.
what in the world went on. I probably could have created a whole show's worth of slides from news that just came in last night, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
happens.
There was something about a 15-year-old girl that crossed my feed that I'm going to throw on there. You probably know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
So
Does.
we'll have to throw that on there because
Does.
you're probably showing that to Riley, going, "What the hell? What
You
the
know,
hell?"
she actually showed it to me. She's in tune, man. So quick little shout out. My son's playing JV lacrosse, had his first game yesterday. That was very cool for me because he's not a running type athlete, right? He plays ice hockey. So to see him out on a football field running around and hitting people with a stick was kind of cool. My daughter's game got canceled yesterday, but our high school's basketball team has made it to the Final Four. So they have a game today at 2 p.m. The Holly Springs Golden Hawks will be playing at 2 p.m. for an opportunity to go to the state championship. So that's pretty cool. And it's 4A because it's NC 4A tournament. So they had something like, what did they say, 78 teams or something like that. They got whittled down to 4 within like 6 days. Like it's amazing the way that they run these playoffs. So
Do you
cool.
want to give a little teaser about the 15-year-old girl? Since you probably know about more than I than the headline.
Well, by the time we get to it next week, it's going to be old news, right? So there is a 15-year-old girl, and I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but she has been signed to the NWSL, which is the National Women's Soccer League. She's going to be playing for the Washington Spirit, I believe, and she was signed to a full professional contract at 15 years old. It's
the hell with Riley.
Incredible. What the hell, Riley? What the hell, Riley? Damn.
Where did you go wrong?
Though I worry about it.
I blame you.
I really worry about it. I feel that we have come across a lot of very good female athletes, right? Like it's impressive to see what these girls are capable of doing week in and week out on a soccer field. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And to be 15 years old and now have to go into a locker room with grown women, to have to be playing on a field with grown women, to be having to hear conversations that the grown women are having, to know that your body is still maturing, to know that there's a lot of psychological things that go on around 15, 16, 17 years old, it's a lot. And I'm not going to discredit her or her family because they're obviously, preparing her and I really hope it works out for her. But I have to look back at some of the things that we've seen over the years that have not gone right. And I'll point to Freddie Adu. Do you remember hearing about Freddie Adu? Mm-hmm. Freddie Adu was the next great soccer superstar. The DC United signed him at 15 years old. And where is he now? Nobody knows. So I just, I have an issue with not letting kids be kids. I know that there's certain situations for everything, but if she's good enough and she can play, sweetheart, go play, have a great time. I just really hope 14-year-old signed an MLS. Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Let these kids be kids, man. Let them be kids. And then I know that the other argument would be, well, if they're good enough to play, that yes, if they're good enough to play, let them. But I really think that these leagues, if they're going to allow these kids to come in at such young ages, they need to have some sort of policy or process for how those kids are handled, right? There needs to be a schedule. There needs to be some like an advisor or something that's assigned to them. Like it's very easy to go down the wrong path. And then what happens to their future? You've taken them away from, they can go back to college, right? But I don't know. I got mixed feelings about it. Congratulations to her. Apparently she's a phenomenal player. I haven't watched her play, but if she's getting signed professionally at 15, the biggest thing that she can do is she can take body contact and she can play through the ball. I almost guarantee. And that's something that it's not taught. It's just who you are. So good for her. But yeah, that's what's going on.
Welcome, Adam Stone.
Yes.
A question. This is going to be a difficult question, or he's going to give us completely different answers. The question of the day, Adam Stone, that I direct to you: top 5 candies of all time. But being from England, they have different candies that are probably more popular than we had over here in North America. So he will probably give a completely different answer. But if you had to name your top 2 or 3
candies,
candies, Adam Stone, it'd be interesting to see what he thinks. What he thinks of because Twix is called something different over there. I don't remember what it's called, but it's called something different. And aren't Smarties or something called something different over there too? So.
Oh, Smarties! I should have said Smarties.
What
about like Dum Dums? Like, you know?
I told you, I gave you my list. It was.
Man.
What the hell is a Dum Dum?
You don't know the little lollipops? They're like cherry, and they're called Dum Dums.
Oh, Tootsie Rolls, Tootsie Pops,
Tootsie Rolls,
or Tootsie Pops. What's the thing with the stick and the?
How many licks does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Rockets. You have rockets down there? Yeah, the little. They come out in Halloween. They come in a little thing, and they have little. They're like little tiny little candies. They come in a. Never mind. But yeah, it's interesting to see what Adam Stone thinks. Cadbury's chocolate. It's in many varieties. Twix is called Twix. Smarties are like M&M's but nicer. Twix is called Twix. I thought Twix was
I even said flakes and crunchy.
When I was in France or Germany or somewhere decades ago, I bought something and it looked like a Twix bar. It tasted like a Twix bar, but it wasn't called Twix. I thought it was all right. Whatever. All right, I trust him.
Interesting.
He lives over there. He would know. But
yeah, that's true, right? I think we should use the source expert.
I yield to him because he lives there, so he would know what things are called.
Right?
He maybe when he goes to France, maybe when he goes to the Olympics in Paris, maybe then he'll go. That's what Jeff was talking about, and he'll find some other random.
I wonder if he's going to be going to the Esport Olympics.
Well, it's virtual, so.
So will he go?
I like old school sucking candy. The sort you kind of buy from a jar. We just talked about that. That's the kind of what Mama Papa Ryzak were selling back in the Lowe's family antique store.
That's right. Peeps are probably on that list somewhere, even though they're disgusting.
You have the Peeps Pepsi?
Oh my God. They have a Peeps. If you go to National Harbor in DC, they have a Peeps store. You go in, there's nothing but Peeps.
I've been to National Harbor. Well, okay, I've been to the Gaylord.
Did you go to the Ferris wheel?
I've only been to National Harbor. I never actually got out.
So did you go to the MGM or did you go to the hotel? Like, were you at the Gaylord?
No, the Gaylord.
Yeah,
the Gaylord.
So the guy we're
at a conference, so we were just there. We never really got outside of.
It's a really cool.
We're going to the Olympic Compare next year, costing a fortune. There's a talk of esports being there, but I haven't seen it. Go back earlier in the show.
Just hold on just a second there, Mr. Stone. Just you hold your horsies there, sir. We're going to show you.
Cadbury's is one of the largest sugar confectioneries in the world, so solid choice.
There you go, Jeff. Throw that back up there for Mr. Stone.
All right.
Booyah.
It's in Singapore. He's going to Paris next year. This year in Singapore, though. How far are you from Singapore?
I'm sure it's a hop, skip, and a jump across like 14 continents, but no big deal.
But he can drive for like 8 hours and hit 6 countries. Yep. I can drive for 14 hours and I'm still in friggin' Ontario.
Yeah.
So
here you go, Rock. They got archery, they've got baseball, they've got chess, which Jeff's super stoked about. They've got cycling, they've got Just Dance. They're playing Gran Turismo. They have a virtual sailing game and virtual taekwondo game, and then a tennis game. So pretty interesting stuff. It's not just a leisure activity anymore. That's for sure. So I think money and geography make that a no-show.
but Adam Stone, imagine the content you could be creating from there. You would be creating such awesome, dude. It's all about making the content. Not about just sitting there talking the news. Not about just sitting around talking the news. You gotta be knee deep in the, you gotta be. Imagine the
Singapore Rock
creating. Singapore Rock.
There you go.
Singapore Rock. Like the content you would be shooting out. You'd be shooting out YouTube shorts. You'd be making videos. You could be doing live streams from there.
I think you might find some new friends in Singapore too.
Maybe get out of the desk and call in the news. Even Tom Brokaw, thing about
we were actually talking about because in this slide here, let me see, go back. In this slide, we were talking about the NACE rock. And this sounds to me a little bit more like the partnership that you have with that college near you. So it was pretty cool as we were talking through this stuff. We actually talked about you earlier. So you're always around, even when you're not.
Yeah, I don't know how much you're still doing with the esports, but I remember you were doing some stuff with them. I got that was before the pandemic, I think, right? So,
it was during. It was during.
Was it during the pandemic?
Yeah, we were all in the stadio when Rock was doing that. So, yeah.
No, it's all a blur. It's all a blur. I don't remember.
All right, Jeff.
All right,
so that
I am going
married,
to go and I'm going to change out of my pajamas, and I am going to shovel more snow in bare feet.
Nice. And then you'll be back in a little while because we're going to be playing. We're playing with Raymond for his Cinquenta.
Adam Stone, Ray joined us today.
Cinquenta, yeah, 50th.
Ray joined us in the 50s group. He can now be part of our show that we never did, of old angry gamers or whatever we were going to call it. We were going to have a show with him and me and some other, so we could get Ray on there and just old 50 plus dudes talking gaming. So
you call yourself the second century gang.
Yeah, something like that.
Second half.
Something. Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Exactly. Yes, Rue.
What
Diggs.
up, Rue?
Yes, Rue Diggs. Rue Diggs, I'll ask you the question. Type very fast because we're going to end this.
Clive. Oh my gosh, look at that panel. Clive, you, Rock, Ray, and Kevin. Holy crap.
Where'd that go? Hang on, I lost that. There, it's down here. Here we go. Oh yeah, Clive. I knew there was somebody else. I knew there was somebody else.
Bye, Cammy. You guys can only do that show if you do it in black and white, okay?
And have the faded thing,
the
staticky picture, and
or it needs to be like those old Martian shows on the radio.
have a test patterns to start and end the show, just a test pattern.
Oh my goodness! That's great.
I forgot about Clive. I knew there was somebody else out there. I just couldn't remember.
Probably a few more you don't know about, to be honest with you. I think video games keep us young, so
I think there are some other people. I'm not. I think there were some other stadiums that were over 50 as well. I don't. But I don't claim to know everybody's age, and I don't care to know everybody's age. So
yeah.
I don't even think. No, I'm not going to say it. I don't even think Cammy's leaving.
Yeah, Cammy. Yeah, Cammy left. Thanks for watching, Cammy. Hanging.
That's what we could call the show. Back in my day.
Back in my day.
Do you say that to Riley and Zach? You say that?
I do all the time.
Back in my day.
All the time. Yes. Especially when we talk about sports and we talk about the school. It's like, man, y'all don't have school spirit anymore. When I was a kid, we were like constantly wearing our school colors, going to games. Like, y'all are boring.
Yeah, we never did that. We never really did that much. 70 Rock. 70s unite, baby. 70 Rock. 70 baby. 1970. That was like, what, 20, 25 years ago? Something like that. So, yeah. Yeah, 1970, baby. Yep. I have pictures somewhere. But somewhere of a picture. But yeah, where did Rock? Okay, I guess Ryzak's done. I thought you're a baby. Yeah. Oh, Ryzak joined again. Did I boot you out?
I hit the button on the side of my mouse by accident, and it closed the
tab. Closed the tab. I'm like, oh, I'm here by myself. He put me full screen to talk 1970.
And exit stage left.
Ray, just a little younger than Mike Tyson.
You're just a little younger than Mike Tyson?
Ray is now the youngest. Ray is officially, I'm no longer the youngest of the 50 pluses. Ray is now the youngest of the 50 pluses.
I'll be there in a few years. Give me a few years, like 9.
You got a lot more than a few years. A few years. That's what 40 looks like. That's what 40 looks right there. That's what 40 looks like.
41, man. 41. Give me my 1. I earned it, okay?
I'll be 53. 53 in a few months. 53, baby. 53. I love it. I love it.
Jeffy, Awesome catching up with you. Thanks for having some coffee with me, sir.
Love it. Thanks for everybody in the chat. Adam and Cammy and Purple and Crow, our baby.
No, not true. Old man Ryzak.
Baby. Oh, you're old man compared to David Wilson.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you what, I think as soon as you get to 40, like your body just does something and it's like, hey, I'm going to be sore every day for you now. Okay.
David's body did that at 22.
Oh, I mean, you knew I wasn't feeling good last night. I popped some medicine and I went to bed. And I woke up this morning. You would have thought I slept for like 3 days. I was like an old man. There were like creaks and snaps and pops when I was rolling out of bed.
That's why I went to the hot tub after shoveling the snow last night. After shoveling the snow for an hour, I
tell you,
I had to go sit in the hot tub.
It is what it is, but
wrong one. This one here.
Awesome stuff.
All right, everyone, we will see you next week. Next week, we're going to have some hot topics. We're going to have some other fun stuff. We're not going to be talking about 15-year-old pro athletes, but maybe Riley could do an NIL. Maybe she could sell her name, image, and likeness. There's probably good, she could probably, if she's a big deal in your little town, she could probably get some NIL money.
Oh, she's not a big deal in our town. She did just sign up with a team of girls that's going to do like photo shoots for their senior year. So she was selected to
before
do
that. Before you go, top candies. What are your top 5 candies of all time, Rudigs? That was our 5 guesses. Top 5 candies. You got 30 seconds to send a message in the chat as I play the closing. If I can remember how to do that. Top
nice.
5
I'm gonna go work in the garage. Have a good week.
I'm gonna go shovel snow.
All right.
I know William's gonna go. You call that snow, but whatever.
It's more snow than I've seen, Jeff. So I can match you in pollen right now. I could probably go out and shovel my pollen.
There you go. That sounds good. Okay. See everyone next week. Au revoir.
Bye. Skittles.